I've seen the restorative questions and I've heard you talk about them. They seem to give a lot of control to the student as regards to what needs to happen. So how does this sit with the idea of the teacher as being the responsible adult and they being in control of the class?
Yeah, I suppose, as a teacher, I'm a parent of 3 kids myself, we're probably socialized or conditioned to kind of, I'm the adult, I have to have the answers, and that's a lot of pressure, I mean, if you're a parent or a teacher or whoever it is, and you're coming across a situation, to try and almost instantly ascertain what's happened, who's wrong, who's right, what needs to happen, that's a lot of pressure. You've got to try to be maybe judge and jury at the same time. You can't. So why not, if you like, ask the young people, the kids, if you like, and let them, give them a go to answer the question. So get them to answer what's happened, but they'll tell you who's affected and what do you think needs to happen. So if you even just start with those questions, what happened, who's been affected, and what needs to happen, more often than not, they'll come up with the answers, some good answers themselves. And that's less pressure for you. You don't have to know everything, be everything. There's a quick story with my own two boys, and it's a few years ago, because people think you can't ask these questions to young kids as well. So my 2 boys, they were 8 and 6 at the time, in the car going to Cool Camp, as it was. And the 8-year-olds had the pencil belonging to his younger brother. And, so the younger brother then grabs the pencil back, if you like, it's his pencil. And the 8-year-old then is kind of crying and daddy, and I'm just there then, I suppose, looking at the situation, and I'm like, okay, Sean, say sorry to Michael, which is what we tend to do. We jump in with the answers, just say sorry to Michael. And Michael, he's not having it, apology not accepted. So by involving them in the conversation, and so something like this, I just asked Sean, what were you thinking? And he's like, I don't know. And again, at which point, if you're a teacher or a parent, you probably are inclined to get into the lecture, you should be doing this and that. But if you stick with the restorative questions, the next question is, well, what are you thinking now? And he goes, I don't know, it could have been worse. And it's okay, right, so it could have been worse, but it could have been better. And I just asked the next question then, what could you have done differently? And he goes, I could have asked for it back. And then Michael, at this point, he's listening to this, he goes, apology accepted. So by involving them, and the whole thing just took about a minute, and contrasting it where I come in with the answer and the solution, as opposed to giving them the time and the space, they sorted it out themselves. And if you've got 2 kids, or 2 people, 2 colleagues, and if they can resolve it themselves and they're happy days.
And I suppose every parent who has young kids has had the situation whereby you look at what's happened and you go, what were you thinking? And it's like, that's,
yeah, and that can trigger you then into,
then it's the
it's like, oh, you should be thinking and you should be doing this, and but the questions, by all means, look up the questions if you haven't seen them already. The next question is, what are you thinking now? So just rolling with the questions, you're kind of letting them know, probably should be thinking something different at this stage. So that the question, they really work, very well in that situation. They work for you as well. They keep you calmer as the teacher or the parent, because, by asking questions, that gives you a chance to kind of breathe, center, and pause, and just hear what's coming up, rather than jumping in feet first.